Welcome to Nerd Sports. Today we're going to talk about gymnastics
Yeah.
and what it was. And this is actually gymnastics news. I'm not messing around. What's her name? Simone Biles makes U.S. another championship. She's won like 7 U.S. championships.
Yeah. Because whenever you start that sport, a lot of them, they start when they're like 10, 12 years old.
Younger than that, really.
Yeah, they've got to. They've got to train basically their whole lives.
Yeah, and what's really strange is I had when I was in not prior military, but kind of in the works there. I was talking to a guy that was training me up for when I went to basic and everything, which I didn't need the freaking training anyways because it was stupid easy. But I hadn't done any running or anything for a while, so I wanted to train up. He's like, you're pretty stout for a young person and everything like that. I was like, what'd you do beforehand? Well, I was like, I did a lot of gymnastics when I was a kid.
Right.
And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna have to change your whole workout routine then. Because it's a big difference between an actual like a bodybuilder workout routine compared to an actual gymnast workout routine.
Right.
Because all their workout routine is endurance muscle.
Yeah. Gymnasts were doing core stuff before core became cool.
Yeah.
So and just to be able to see, like, especially like the guys when they're doing the rings, and they're doing like the Iron Cross and the horse, and I'm just like, holy crap. Those dudes are stout. And the chicks, good God,
Yeah, they could crush a watermelon in their thighs.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a way to safely say this, but because we're still within our 5-minute window before YouTube tosses the video off. But yeah, when a lot of those gymnasts become of age, they become incredibly dangerous individuals.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Well, it's almost like ballerinas. I don't want to see the ballerina's feet.
No. If you're into feet ballerinas, you need to stay away from. But yeah, big stuff over the weekend. My Red Sox went into New York. Everybody's talking about the rivalry. And this is the rivalry of all rivalries. I don't care what you say. It's not the Dallas Cowboys versus Pittsburgh Steelers.
As long as they didn't do what they did when they came to Texas.
Well, yeah. But hey, that's baseball. That's why you play 162 games. But my Red Sox went into the house that Jeter built and took advantage of the New York Yankees and swept them in their house.
How bad was it?
Let me pull those up here. Scores. Let me go back here.
Oh, well, that was another thing.
Friday they beat them 5-2.
It was 6-5.
Yeah, last night was 6-5. It was 6-5. It was a extra innings affair last night. But
how many games did they go through?
They played 3.
This in weekend?
Yeah, it was a weekend series. Yeah. They went 5-2. Then they went 7-3, and then last night was 6-5. But it was the first time that they had gone into New York City and actually had swept the Yankees in the Bronx for the first time in like 10 years. And they'd go in and they'd either split a series if it was a 4-game set, or they would take the series, or the last couple of years though have been kind of horrendous. The Yankees just kind of had their way with the Red Sox lineup, but and obviously as a Red Sox fan, that was very painful to watch. I'm kind of the mindset that I don't care if you guys lose every other game in this, of the year, just beat the damn Yankees.
Yeah.
But we had some guys that finally showed up to play, as far as like at the plate. Kike Hernandez, he got moved from the leadoff spot down to I think like the 8 or 9 hitter. I think that's going to be a pretty productive spot for him for a while until he figures out what's going on with his swing. Last night he went 0 for 4, but the night before on Saturday night, he actually managed to snap an 0 for 24 with a pretty key hit that drove in a couple of runs. But it really brought to light, with as much offense prowess and promise, really, that the Yankees lineup has. And their bullpen's really kind of been a mainstay. It's been the reason why they've won a lot of the games that they've got, or that they do have. Just their starting rotation, it's not all it's been hyped up to be. Cole Garrett. There we go.
Use your words.
Yes, use my words. I mean, from the top to the bottom, I mean, their rotation, it can be stout, but, for the most part, their rotation has just been incredibly off here lately. I don't know if it's just going to be one of those ebbs and flows that, that we see traditionally in baseball, but, with the standings being what they are going into today, the Yankees are 31-29, which is a .517 winning average. Boston's at 36-23. That's a .610 average. They're still a game back of Tampa Bay, who just had a gangbusters month of May. I mean, they went like 22-6 or some shit like that during the month of May, and it was crazy. They actually, and as well as the Rays are doing. Percentage-wise, with a 38-23 mark right now, they have like the second best run differential in Major League Baseball. That honor goes to the Chicago White Sox of all teams, with their out of touch.
If he's actually watching, is the customer service representative of Black Rifle Coffee?
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. And if you're watching this, please, hey, whatever. I'm giving your White Sox some props. But let me tell you, Tony La Russa as their manager is not only out of touch, but he's just a little tiny bit senile. I mean, the dude has absolutely no business being in a dugout anymore. I mean, there was a reason why he retired. I mean, yeah, granted, yeah, he's in sole possession of all-time wins on the managerial list in the Major League history. But that all aside, I mean, it just the guy is completely and totally just out of touch. I mean, especially whenever we're talking about things like unwritten rules where, you don't swing on a 3-0 count. It's like, who fucking cares? I mean, really, nobody cares. If you swing on a 3-0 count, good on you. If you make contact and you put the ball in play, fine. I mean, the object of the game is to put runners across.
Yeah.
Put the ball in play. And,
I thought the whole thing was to score points, but,
Okay, first off, bad on you for saying the word points. There are no points in baseball. It's all runs.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay. Check yourself before you wreck yourself next time. Anyways, I digress. But you see a lot of times you get the hitter gets up 3-0, and they'll have the green light to swing, but not a lot of times you'll see them not swing because the hitter or the pitcher will either throw something out of the zone, walk him, or throw something out of close to the corner, something like that.
Jesus.
And a lot of times you won't see the hitters swing, and it gets that pitcher that opportunity to get one of those get me over fastballs, where it's a fastball count, it's coming. And a lot of hitters will just sit there and just sit on it. But you've had a couple of hitters in the past. Tatis, I can't remember the name of that stud that's playing for Chicago right now. Mercedes, I think his name is. They sat back on that fastball count, that 3-0 count, knowing that there was going to be a right down the middle pump it in, down the middle, get me over fastball. Just one of those let the pitcher get back into the count kind of a thing. And they just swung and they connected. I mean, they barreled up on that ball and sent that thing over the fence. And you get a lot of pitchers now. I mean, more predominantly people like Trevor Bauer. He's like, you know what? If you're up 3-0 and you swing on a 3-0 count, great. If you hit it out on me, hey, I'll tip you. He said I'll tip my hat to you. Trevor Bauer, he gets it. I mean, it's a game, and all these. I mean, some of these unwritten rules, as long as the hitter doesn't sit there and do like a Joey Bautista style bat flip where he just throws the bat at the dugout and then stares at the pitcher for a minute admiring his home run before he decides to walk to first base. Hey, you know what? Hit the ball and run it out. But don't be a dickhead about it. But the pitcher can't, people can't get mad if you swing at something like that. Because at the end of the day, you know, it's again, it's about getting on base. It's about putting runners over, you know, about getting runners advanced and ultimately scoring. Because it's not a stat padding thing. It's an end goal thing. So you're on that field to win those games, and ultimately make the playoffs at the end of the 162 game grind. But you know, I don't fault anybody for swinging on 3-0. I mean, I really don't. And I mean, in these blowouts, I mean, if you're getting blown out and you're still swinging for the fence, hey, you know what? So what? If the other team has such a problem with it, maybe you might want to put together a better pitching staff. You know, or maybe the manager needs to, you know, effectively manage his bullpen a little bit better by not leaving a guy in there for more than just the minimum batter, you know, the minimum 3 batter rule. I mean, if your guy's out there getting shelled, don't freaking leave him out there. You know, if he's having a shit day, you're not going to make it any better by forcing him into a position to try to figure out how to get, you know, to get out of it. You know, it's. I think it's more detrimental to a pitcher to, you know, have hitters roll over for him than it is for him to actually either A, get pulled, or B, get shelled. So, because you hear this adage a lot in baseball where, you know, you have to have a short memory, and that's any professional sport. You know, you always hear about the announcers talk about the athletes needing a short memory, because you're only as good as your next outing. So, I mean, if you sit there and think about that 450-foot bomb that you just gave up, and you let that affect your, let that affect your pitch sequence, or, you know, let that affect your velocity or accuracy for the rest of the game, you're done. So, I mean, you know, like I tell my kid all the time, you know, whenever he was playing Little League this past spring, hey, you know what? That was one play. You know, if he strikes out or if he grounds out.
What do they call it? That it was. This is just memory of something that actually. It's like the. It's where they're really good and then they just have like a hiccup. I'll forget what it is. God. Some kind of shakes or something like that. I know it's a baseball term. That was the only baseball term really I know, and I just totally blanked out and ruined the whole skit.
No, yeah, anyways.
But there's another thing that came up, and this is just basically clickbait. Alex Rodriguez and Jason Varitek still enemies after 17 years after the infamous Yankees-Red Sox brawl.
Yeah. On my Facebook page, while during the Red Sox Yankee games, my profile picture I changed to that picture.
I noticed it.
Yeah, where Jason Varitek has got his catcher's mitt shoved in A-Rod's face. You know?
Oh, it is so freaking hilarious. I'm looking at this picture, and I'm like, holy crap.
I mean, how do you not look at Alex Rodriguez and not want to hit that guy right in the face?
Well,
he's got
a punchable face.
Last night he was talking about how, I guess they were on, he admires or, commends Jason Varitek. It's like, okay, yeah, that's great, but it really kind of looks like a bitch move. Why even bring Jason Varitek up? I mean, on a personal level, if you want to talk about him from the announcer's standpoint, then do that. But
well, like I said before it started, it's just clickbait.
Yeah, but given the fact that he kicked your ass,
mm-hmm.
and he's the only guy in Major League, in the majors that got in A-Rod's face and just let him have it. I mean, yeah, A-Rod's been plunked a few times, but past that, it's I mean,
yeah, it's just really funny of the whole rivalry and stuff like that. I mean, and this is going off of people not being able to report the news as best as they possibly can. They don't have anything else, and they want to be the first person that reports this news. So this is old news, and it doesn't really matter, but it's just something that popped up when I was looking up stuff to talk about on the show.
The Twitter sphere kind of exploded a little bit during the game last night, because I was keeping up on with it on Twitter and some of the Facebook pages that I belong to for the Red Sox Nation. But, they were talking about him like, Alex Rodriguez. They kept showing Jason Varitek on the screen because, I mean, he's basically their bullpen coach now. So, and he works with the pitchers and he works with the catchers, teaches them how to call the games, how to dictate the flow.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, giving Jason Varitek some props. I got some pictures of Jason Varitek when he was in the bullpen down here in Texas. Tried to get his attention. Of course, he was at work, and you don't bother a guy when he's at the office, kind of a thing, right? So
yeah. They don't have anything like a lot of other sporting events to where they can come around and say hi to the fans.
Well, generally speaking, I mean.
Well, yeah, nowadays you can't really do that.
Because everybody's still freaking out about the COVID thing, even here in Texas, where we're talking about full capacity crowds, but they still got these annoying ass plexiglass barriers up.
Well, I was watching a cooking show, and what they were doing, they were still doing the, hey, how's it going? We'll just do elbows. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
And they walk away from each other, and I'm like.
To me, that's just dumb. We've gotten along. We got along great, before everybody started freaking out. I mean, now that Dr. Fauci's emails are, getting leaked, and everybody knows. And everybody knows because he got caught saying that, it was all for political theater. I trust Fauci probably about as far as I can pick up the studio and throw it.
It's like what we were talking about last week about how most countries are pro-Trump.
Yeah, and a lot of it's not the fact that we think that that this guy was like he's like the savior, he's the greatest thing since Ronald Reagan. Because Donald Trump, let's face it, is no Ronald Reagan, but. He loved our military. He loved our country, and he knew how to run an economy. And
he was a businessman, so he
had us on the right track. And the fact that he was an outsider, But all that aside, politics away.
Because we don't want to run this as far as we usually do
when
we get into politics.
But let me call. I've got a buddy from the Army that I call. That he.
Oh yeah.
He called me.
What's his name? So we.
Zach Medford. So let's see.
Zach Medford. Okay.
So let's see if he's on here. I don't know. Can you hear this just fine?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Hopefully, transitions we'll see and everything.
Well, yeah, we'll see.
That's what happens when you have bare bones.
Come on, Zach, answer the phone. I told him I was going to call today.
I think I'm going to go ahead. I was like, that doesn't sound like Zac Efron. You lied to me.
No. No, this dude's much better looking than Zac Efron.
Your call has been forwarded
you bastard!
Messaging system.
You played yourself.
You know what? All right, here we go. Bruh. Answer your damn phone.
That was another thing in news too that happened this weekend is the was it Paul Logan and Mayfield fight?
Are we talking about the hugging match between him and Mayweather? Both of those guys. I mean, there was no referee. There was no winner.
It was a spectacle thing.
It was a sparring match. That's all that it was. And
but it's still in the news, bro.
You know what? I didn't feel like spending money on that fight.
Oh,
because I knew that it was a joke. I knew that it was nothing more than just a glorified payday. Because anytime,
it was a big cash grab.
That's all it was. And you know what? I followed the highlights on Twitter and Facebook, and you know what? I got just as much out of that as I would have had I spent the money.
I honestly thought I was gonna go. I was like, oh yeah, the Mayfield fight's today. I'm gonna go play video games. I'm just gonna get the highlights from YouTube. I can't really do the pay. If the pay-per-view stuff, I can't do. It doesn't compute.
To me, it's not worth
money.
it. It's not.
It's entertainment. And if I was really into that stuff, yes. I was like back on the day when WrestleMania was at its highlight
peak,
stuff.
Yeah.
I every month I gave him like $50.
Yeah, $50
to $40.
But and I don't want to say that this fight was a conviction or indicative of what the state of professional boxing is today, but it really didn't do a whole lot for the public image of what boxing has become.
I don't know. They filled up the stadium, didn't they?
because people wanted to see this, and I'll tell you what, the people that
As a bit, okay, if you look at it a business
it's
standpoint,
bad enough that people paid for paid the pay-per-view for this crap.
yeah,
But the people that paid money to physically go watch this fight in person, I'm willing to bet that maybe 50 to 60% of the people that attended there did it strictly for the clout. It's like, hey, look where I'm at. You could almost imagine their social
Yeah, I
media
could see
accounts
that.
blowing up at that point.
I could see that, but honestly, if we were like a legitimate sports show, what I hope to do,
Wait, we're not legitimate?
well, we're more legitimate than most other sports shows. So yeah, but I want to do sporting events. What happened with that Warrior stuff?
I contacted the box office, and the woman that I spoke with gave me the number for the PR guy and for the head coach. I called the PR guy a couple of times, left a voicemail both times, didn't get an answer, didn't get a call back. So I think later today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to reach out to both him and the coach, just to see if there's anything that we can arrange. Whether it's we do it for the team and we link the team's YouTube account or whatever it is, whatever we got to do, whatever stipulations that we have to adhere to. Maybe we can get into the locker room where we can interview the players, during the intermissions, kind of a thing, or like pregame, postgame, whatever, preferably pregame. But we can do something. We may not necessarily be showing extensive footage from the ice during the game, but just show like little clips, and we can just kind of walk around and maybe talk to some of the some of the people in the stands, and do it kind of like
We could do a montage.
We could do a montage, and if anything else, we can just do it sort of in the format of maybe like a PR piece for the team itself.
A lot of people don't. The reason why we don't had that much stuff in that kind of aspects and everything is because people don't want to. Even our freaking news group doesn't really want to be part of it.
Yeah, and on top of all that, it just the way that the organizations are not necessarily run by the organizations themselves, but the venue, the Kay Yeager Coliseum that we have here. Initially it was bought by the city or owned by the city. I think some third party came in and owns it now, but don't quote me on that. But it just like the concessions are outrageous there. We're talking.
That's everywhere though.
Yeah, I get all that, but this isn't professional level stuff. This is, for the most part, it's semi-pro. It's very junior league, minor league type stuff, and you would expect to pay minor league prices. I can understand paying $6.50, $7.50, or even $8.50 for a beer, if, like, say, a major music act were to come into the Coliseum, which, by the way, to my knowledge, still the acoustics in that place absolutely suck.
Yeah, Rob Zombie was saying that.
But we're talking about, you want to invite families in, but then you want to sit there and charge them $4 or $5 for a shitty hamburger.
Yeah.
No, come on, man. That's not a good look. And what I think something that would.
Well, it's okay.
But something I think that would benefit, that this town would benefit from, is, and I'm not just saying that because of my love for the game of baseball, but get a minor league team in here. Like, it doesn't have to be AA or AAA.
Well, we used to have.
We could get a very low single A team. Yeah, it used to be like the I want to say they were like the Mavericks or something like that, or the.
Well, I know we have like a minor league football team because.
No, it was an arena. It was an arena team.
Yeah.
And
something
I think
to that extent.
They folded.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, they folded.
Because there was a captain in at my corrections that Cookie. He every year he would do that.
Yeah, they were the Nighthawks, and we went to. I took my boys to so many games, and it was a fun environment. It was very family friendly. Yeah, he had pretty good action on the field. When balls would go into the stand, they instantly became souvenirs, and that was cool,
Yeah.
But and the team was very interactive with the public. They would host birthday parties. I took my son to a birthday party that he was invited to. A dad, I guess, or a set of parents, they knew the owner of the team and they arranged it. They basically rented out the entire Coliseum for like the afternoon kind of a thing. Got in there, sitting up in the stands for a few minutes, and then.
I don't know why they don't.
Well,
open
we
that
went
up for
down.
ice
Yeah, we
skating.
went down onto the field, and the team came out. Like the team got paid. Like each player got paid like $25 for that afternoon to kind of come out and just kind of hang out with the kids and stuff. They were signing autographs, and then they even set up like a kind of an impromptu, pick up two-hand touch game.
Oh yeah.
Where the kids were throwing to the athletes, and so like the quarterback would play quarterback going both ways, kind of a thing. And
Yeah.
it was really cool. It was fun. With Arena League, it's a 50-yard field, so you got kids running all over the place on a turf field, and parents were just loving it because your kid can run like a wild heathen all over the place, and they weren't going to go too far because you had the walls surrounding the field itself, and they would just run themselves into the ground. And I'm telling you what, my boys slept great that night.
Oh yeah, I bet.
And
I was like, how are we gonna get kids to sleep tonight? Oh, we're going to the jungle gym.
Yeah, right. But
that's another thing that a lot of people in this town don't really. I don't know what it is, but the conversation with. I go out. I've been going out of my way right now to not promote our podcast, but just talk to people.
yeah,
And doing that, I don't know why, but everybody in this town, our heads are down, looking at the floor. They don't want to conversate with anybody.
yeah,
They don't want to have interaction or anything like that. And I went to Firo's to get
Yeah.
a pizza, and I was talking to these people, and I was like, hey, how's it going? You doing good? And it was like, one guy was eating. I understood that. When the lady, we had like a 5-second conversation. I was like, oh, I got new glasses and everything. I was like, hey, that's great. Do you have to do that every year? And, just having regular conversation with people.
yeah.
And it's just, this is the reason why I started this, is so I can conversate with more people, because it's just boring.
Yeah, I think that one of the unintended side effects of, the whole quarantine thing, where we had to, foolishly shut everything down, was that by and large the public became introverted. And,
I think that's also, it was before that too.
Yeah, it was trending that way, but the quarantine really didn't help. And then when everything started opening back up and people were allowed to take their masks off, I think people have just forgotten how to be sociable.
Yeah.
And by and large, I think that if we want to start measuring things in the sense that it's, we're back to normal, in the truest definition of the term, normal. That, once we start talking to each other again, once we start being communal with each other, we'll really start becoming ourselves again, and you'll start really kind of feeling that sense of community, coming in, and that's something that I really look forward to. Especially when you're talking about sporting events. If you look at the if you look around, like on TV, you see these sporting events going on, like the College World Series of softball, College Baseball World Series. You see the stands are just packed. You see people out, beyond the outfield fence, because they're just kind of camping out on the lawns out there. You see at a lot of Major League Baseball stadiums now across the country, people are getting back to 100% attendance. And you really start seeing fans connecting with each other. Start seeing people really kind of going out of their way to be human, like you were trying to say a minute ago. And I think that for the most part, man, without the things that we've become accustomed to, like sports, and being able to enjoy them the traditional way that we've been accustomed to,
Or even going to like the theaters, what we did last week.
Going to a theater. Yeah, granted, we were the only ones in the auditorium, but it was the fact that we actually got to physically go to a theater. I mean, there's something very convenient, and yeah, I mean, it's kind of great because you can pause a movie, do whatever you need to, if you're watching it on demand theater at home kind of style, and you get to control the level of the surround sound, whatever. But being able to physically go to a theater, it's just something a little bit more magical about the experience. I mean, you're not going to be able to get those things like, remember that preview commercial that they played that Marvel put up where it showed the audience reaction from opening night of Endgame at the end there whenever Cap was watching everybody come back through the portals, and then everybody was like,
Damn, you just gave me goosebumps.
Right, I know, just talking about it right there, and he's like, Avengers, and there's Minor, coming back to him, whatever, potato, and he's like, assemble, and then everybody freaking go nuts, right? I mean, that's the cool stuff that we miss by watching these movies at home, by going to these sporting events. I mean, yeah, it's kind of cool to be able to watch no-hitters and crap like that on TV.
Well, it's the same. It was the same thing when I went to go see Young Frankenstein. I mean, that hit theaters in 1973, and I went to go see it in theaters again.
Yeah.
And it's just, I've seen the movie like 100,000 times.
Right.
But
it's just that communal experience. Yeah.
It's just, there's jokes that are even funnier.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're in a theater and everybody's laughing
because you get to enjoy it with other people.
Then you have our dark humor watching when I was watching Nobody, and I was the only one laughing at a lot of the jokes.
Right.
And everybody's like looking at me. It's like, oh, you don't get it.
I mean, it's kind of like, I would have loved to have been able to do something like, go see a live screening of Range 15. Because just because of the level of jokes that are in that movie.
Oh yeah.
It. I mean, I want to be able to experience that with other people from our community, and or even just seeing civilians being exposed to our level of humor for the very first time.
No, I really want to watch that one Donnie O'Malley movie. What was it? Is it Grunt Life?
I think so. Or are you talking
Grunt's
about the
Life?
one that's? You're talking about the vet TV series?
It was. He made it into a movie.
Did he make it into a movie? Oh,
yeah, because that one. Well, yeah, he did. He did do it as a series at first. Then he made it in a movie. They put it on Amazon, and as soon as they put it on Amazon, they took it off. for
reasons, yeah.
No. It was actually legitimate reasons why they pulled it off.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you've watched
scene.
it, yeah, I mean, when you got the dude's dick hanging down there in the middle of the screen, it's like, at that point, I mean, it's probably the only time he's ever going to hear it, but it's larger than life. But,
anything looks really big on a
none but love for you, man. But, okay, so I was trying to contact my buddy Zach Medford, and yeah, I'm calling you out for not answering the phone like you said you were going to, guy. But he is a diehard Atlanta Braves fan, and and I told him I was going to do this for accountability purposes, but he and I are constantly trying to figure out the schedules so that way we can go actually just kind of watch a ball game together, because he and I both have just an innate love for the game of baseball. We just differ in the fact that I love the Red Sox, he loves the Braves. So we were looking at the schedules, and he was talking about, he was talking about, let me see here. No, I don't want to look at today's schedule. I want to look at... Okay, so next month, or this month actually, next week. Yeah, so we're going to be... The Red Sox are traveling to Atlanta for another 2-game series. Earlier this year, in fact, it was last month, the Braves came to Fenway and they split a 2-game set, right? So... he was like, of course, if we're going to go see a ball game, it's got to be Braves versus Red Sox, so that way we can just, like, one person's going to be able to talk shit, And he was like, man, I need you to meet me. Oh, crap. And then I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, is there any way that you can meet me in Atlanta in the middle of a work week to go see a ball game? I was like, dude, if I had the money to do it and the means to do it, I'd be there, in a heartbeat. Just one, because it's another ballpark that that I would get to go to, and I like the city of for the most part I like the city of Atlanta, and I found myself a lot of times I was pulling for the Braves a lot during the playoffs during the '90s. I mean, they were basically the team of the '90s.
Yeah,
But
that was really weird.
yeah,
I mean, I didn't hear
back when Ted
anything.
Turner owned the
Yeah.
team, and they were playing at Fulton County Stadium, then they played at Turner Field. Now they're playing at Truist Park. But we decided that we were going to place a bet. We had a wager going on there. Of course, I'm not going to put money on that because sports betting in the state of Texas is kind of frowned upon. But just a friendly little wager. So, and I'm going on record now. So the 15th and 16th, when the Red Sox travel to Atlanta to play the Braves, it's a 2-game series. If the Red Sox win that series, Zach has to wear a Red Sox hat on his Facebook profile picture for 1 week. If the Red Sox lose that series, i.e., Braves take both games, then I have to wear a Braves hat on my profile for 1 week. Of course, if they split the difference, then it's a draw and nobody has to change the profile picture. But
Actually, I think y'all should have a side by side of the cross hats. Like you wear.
No, while he and I are both empirically attractive men, put our faces together, and that's an ugly fucking dude right there. I'm just kind of putting it out there. Besides that,
No, I was talking about side by side.
Oh, you mean like
Yeah, we get
duet? Yeah, okay,
yeah.
I see what you're saying. I thought you were talking about like splitting it to where the hats matched up and the faces were like the cover of Face Off, for the poster for the movie. Yeah, no, that dude, no, I mean, people would look at him and be like, yeah, okay, see, he's got a lot going for him. Then they'd see this majesticness right here, and they'd be all like, okay, I see.
Well, you think their heads are going to explode with all the sexiness?
It's very well possible that
I bet.
I think that there's somewhere like an unwritten international law, like the UN would have to have like an emergency meeting to write a binding resolution to keep that much sexiness from being in one photograph. But
But going to the baseball,
see,
you don't have an ego, not at all.
No, actually, I mean I don't. But it's just that whole infantry bravado,
Yeah, I was looking at the scores on the playoffs and everything.
Look at you.
I know.
Before you get too far down that road, I've got to say, man, like before, when we started talking about the idea of a sports show, you admitted, and you were very, very blatant about it, the fact that you had absolutely zero fucking clue about sports.
I have no fucking clue.
But now that we're like 7 or 8.
I'm like one of those spies. I can pick up everything really, really fast and talk like I actually know what I'm talking about. In reality, I don't know shit.
Right, but I start to see little sparks of genuine interest, coming from you, and I'm like, you know what? That's cool because now you're going to find yourself. No, you're going to find yourself. I'm not going to say that you're going to become one of those guys that just comes home and turns on ESPN and just leaves SportsCenter running on repeat.
I had a friend of mine that lived in my house for a while that did that. That's all he does.
That's all you'd hear. I used to have the ESPN app on my phone, and then I stupidly had the push notifications turned on. And it didn't matter what it was, if I was interested in it or not. I'd always hear this dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, and I'm like, and I'm just like, I eventually just uninstalled the app because I'm just like, you know what?
I can't stand ESPN anymore. Even going in, I mean, it used to be just sports and everything like that, and I would like catch it and I had something to watch. But nowadays,
some of the best personalities that were on SportsCenter are not there anymore, and it's just kind of become borderline unwatchable.
Well, everything really right now.
Yeah.
It's to the point where even, almost all of the news groups are going down.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like Saturday Night Live, where with Saturday Night Live, I just absolutely refuse to watch it because it's unwatchable.
Yeah.
And when Elon Musk was set to host it, I watched it for his monologue, and that was it. And it turned out to be one of the better monologues, I mean, the dude shows up like a boss. He shows up in his
He is
Cybertruck.
a boss,
He is.
Yeah.
And then he just announces to the world, is like, hey, I'm doing all this, and I've got Asperger's, you know, and I'm just sitting there going, whoa, you know, because my kid's an Aspie, you know, I mean, he's got Asperger's. And so I'm like, heck yeah, man, that's cool. I mean, I dig the heck out of that, and I respect it. And it really kind of gives, you know, my youngest kid really
Something to look up to.
Something to look up to.
Yeah.
And it's like, look, dude, you know, when I told him that, I was like, dude, the guy that owns Tesla and SpaceX, you know, the guy with all the rockets that land themselves, he's like, yeah, I said, dude, he's got Asperger's just like you. And dude, his eyes lit up. You know, and so, but yeah, so.
But it looks like the Lakers are getting their ass handed to them by the Suns.
No, they got their asses handed to them by the Suns. Now, before we go into basketball real quick.
Dude, that's the only thing I'm having pulled up.
I know, I get it. You can keep it there on your screen, but just a little blurb here because I did make a promise to not only myself but my buddy that I would bring this up. Albert Pujols. Okay, so remember we talked about it a few weeks ago that he got signed by the Dodgers to a 1-year deal after the Angels released him, right?
Yeah.
Guy's a surefire Hall of Famer.
Okay.
He's out there, 30-something years old, you know, slowing down. Everybody's, you know, already just kind of like written him off. Dude's out there still putting home runs up. And he hit a home run the other day. And against the Braves, you know, no less. But still, he's out there still putting numbers up, you know, and the dude's out there swinging a bat. Everybody tells him, you know, hey, you're getting too old, getting too fat, getting too slow. Well, you drag your ass out there to the plate, and you get these young kids that are throwing the ball 95 to 100 miles an hour, and you still try to make contact, and not only make contact, but make good contact where you're not only putting the ball into play, but you're putting it over the fence. And then you sit there and tell me that this guy is getting slow in his old age. You know what? I dare you. Please, I'm your Huckleberry. Bring it the hell on. And that's one of the things that I love about the game of baseball is the fact that, you know, we still have, even these guys with their advanced age, you know, athletically speaking.
When did Nolan Ryan retire? I mean, he retired close to his, like, 45.
Yeah. I mean, of course, then, you know, Nolan Ryan was a pitcher. I mean, he's out there, you know, still fooling guys. I mean, his last season, in fact, his last start was pretty forgettable, but
46. I was wrong by 1 year. He retired at 46, but still.
I mean, you got it. I mean, these guys are out there and they're playing until their body falls apart because one, they love the game that much, and two, the game allows them to do it.
Yeah.
And I think as a whole, you know, the fans are better for it because we're getting the opportunity to glimpse greatness on the field that much longer.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're going to see these guys. I mean, and I'm not saying that these guys are going to be flash in the pans or that that their careers aren't going to pan out or anything. But like Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Fernando Tatis Jr., or even Mike, Yastrzemski. These guys are all second generation players. Their dads all played in the major leagues. And they're getting their opportunity to shine. And well, Mike Yastrzemski, his great granddad Carl Yastrzemski used to play for the Red Sox, and now Mike's playing for the Giants. But they come from great lineage, from some good baseball stock, and we're getting to see them play. And to that effect, I mean, these guys that play, into their 30s, late 30s, early 40s, before they hang up the cleats. We're getting the opportunity to see these guys play, and I personally, in all transparency, the year that David Ortiz retired, his last year as a player, I cried when he retired. It was his last at bat. I just kind of had this feeling that it was his last at bat, and it really, I'm sitting there, I'm getting choked up, and my now ex-wife, she looked at me, she goes, "What's wrong?" I was like, "I think this is David, or this is Poppy's last at bat," and I knew right then, I was just kind of like, this is going to be one of those greats that we would pay money to see again, and when the game was over, he came out stood on the pitcher's mound, and he tipped his hat to everybody in the stands at Fenway Park. And he was paying his respects to the crowds, to the fans. And I think that, you know, baseball kind of offers the athletes that unique opportunity to do things like that. Yeah, you've got football where, you know, they can stand there on the 50-yard line and they can kind of look out at the stands and, you know, but for the most part, I mean, baseball gives you that theater.
Yeah.
You know, where the players come out. They can do the curtain call from the dugout, or they can walk out like Derek Jeter. At the end after his very last game, you know, he hit that walk-off single, which I think was kind of scripted, but, you know, hey, give it to him, whatever. I mean, the guy had a great career. I hate the Yankees, but, you know, I respect the hell out of Derek Jeter as a player. But and I know that sounds really weird for me to say wearing a Red Sox jersey and being such a Red Sox fan, but you know, you got to respect the captain. I mean, you just have to.
Yeah.
But you know, he came out and he stood in his spot at shortstop, and he just looked out like he was admiring the view from his office for the last time. And you know, he reached down and he grabbed a handful of infield dirt from where he would play, and he walked off the field. And to me, I'm like, dude, there's something so incredibly romantic about that. And you got to respect the hell out of it, man. You know, you really do. Mariano Rivera, whenever, you know, he retired, it was his last game. They called him in just to make sure that he would get into the game. And instead of Joe Girardi coming out and taking him out of the game, he sent, you know, some of his teammates out onto the field to pull him from the game. And, you know, Mariano Rivera tipped his hat to the crowd. He hugged his teammates, and they cried right there in the middle of the field in front of everybody. And I think that that's a testament to the game, and I really do. You know, you can call me like a sappy romantic. I don't really care. I mean, when it comes to baseball, I mean, that's it. I mean, it's a metaphor for life. But all that aside, you know, I think that Albert Pujols doing the things that he's doing, even though he's doing it in a Dodgers uniform, people are going to miss that. And I think they're really taking it for granted, is the fact that, you know, here we are, we're looking at one of the greatest hitters to strap on a pair of cleats and pick up a bat.
Yeah.
And he's out there doing it at an athletically advanced age in a league where we're talking about velocity and launch angles, and he's out there hitting like an old school slugger. And we're not going to get to see that very often. And I think that once it's gone, once he's stepped off the field for the last time, and he rides away into the sunset, or he picks up a microphone somewhere and starts announcing games, you know, or commentating for like Major League Network or something, but or, you know, MLB Network anyway. But you know, people are going to they're going to look at it and they're going to be like, you know, where'd all the greats go? I mean, great that we've got the product that we've got on the field. You know, the game, we feel the game is in good hands. But as far as these once-in-a-lifetime type hitters, you know, like the King Griffey Jr.'s, the Ted Williams, the Babe Ruths, you know, the Lou Gehrigs. You know, Lou Gehrig, he had ALS, and dude showed up every day, even though he had a disease that was eating his muscles.
Yeah.
I mean, it was eating his body. And he showed up for work. Because why? He loved the game. And just like his speech, when he retired, he was the luckiest man on the planet because he got to show up and he got to play baseball. You know, you get these guys that you know, like Drew Brees. You watch the last game where Drew Brees lost to Tom Brady in the playoffs. And Drew Brees walked off the field at the end of the game into the tunnel, and just before he went into the tunnel, he turned and he looked at the stands. And that was kind of like, that's the shot that people are going to remember. But it didn't necessarily give him that theater to kind of come out and let the crowd say, hey, thank you for all the, you know, thanks for the memories, thanks for the championship kind of a thing. And, you know, I don't know, I guess that's just, to me, why baseball is such a superior sport to anything else that's out there. And, you know, you can fight me on it. I don't really care. But, yes, getting to basketball.
It looks like the Lakers
are out of the playoffs. And
they're legitimately out of the playoffs because it's just only the 7th.
Yeah, no, they're legitimately out of the playoffs. Let me pull.
You mean the King didn't do well?
Oh, God, no.
Him and his disciples?
Yeah, the
I guess China lost technically on that one.
the Warriors and the Lakers are both out of the playoffs.
Yeah, it looks like Jazz and the Suns.
Yeah, they're going to
Are-
play in the semifinals. Yeah, so
It looks like the Jazz and the Suns and the East Conference, the 76ers and the Nets.
yeah, it's Denver and Phoenix. They're going to play. To see here, I think tonight.
Yeah.
And then
was-
tomorrow we're gonna see the Clippers, who just got done beating the Mavericks in Game 7. That was a good series. I think that Luka Doncic, your dude put up 44 points last night. You know, that stud player for the Mavericks. He played his ass off last night. It just wasn't enough because, I mean, the supporting cast around him they really didn't show up to play. Not to say, I mean, the score was a little. I mean, the game was closer than. The game was closer than the scoreboard indicated, but watch out for this kid. Watch out for Dallas. I mean, because if as long as Mark Cuban keeps his hands off, and he does his best anti-Jerry Jones impersonation, and he lets the front office and the scouting department and everything like that do their jobs, and they bring in the personnel to build around this kid.
Yeah, for the longest time he didn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, he's responsible for bringing in people like Dirk Nowitzki, but hey, as I like them. I like the Mavericks. But, I mean, I'm obviously not just a big basketball fan, but I do like the Mavericks. I like the Celtics. To a degree, I mean, I kind of sort of – I mean, those are my two teams, I guess, if I'm going to pick teams. But, the Mavericks, they brought home that one championship against the Heat, LeBron James's Heat, as a matter of fact. But it's something more poignant to kind of throw out there. About the Lakers' exit from the playoffs was the way that LeBron James just kind of threw this bitch move temper tantrum. Dude walked off the court.
Yeah.
Before the game was even over, he just walked off the court. Just disappeared off into the locker room. And and it's like, okay, I get it. It's the first time in your career that you've exited in the first round. But it's I mean, I hate to be the bearer of bad news for Mr. James, but all these comparisons to Michael Jordan and being called the GOAT, you've written yourself out of the argument there. You've written yourself out of the discussion. You've stepped away from the table, and your seat was filled by somebody to be named later. So the legacy and the prestige of players like Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, they're safe, absolutely 100% safe, because given the off-court troubles that Kobe Bryant had and the off-court troubles that even Michael Jordan had with the gambling in Atlantic City, these guys had an unparalleled work ethic, and they were sportsmen, 100%.
Yeah, that's what Tim Grundy.
Yeah,
he said he's like it was just the work ethic.
Yeah, and I tell my kid all the time, and I did this when I was a coach for Little League, is that talent will get you on the field, but it's the hard work that's going to keep you there. And I think it was either Griffey Jr. or Jeter that said that, but I think it was Jr. actually. But talent's going to get you on the field, talent's going to get you on that court, but the hard work's going to keep you there.
Yeah.
And the problem with LeBron James is the fact that he has adopted this kind of entitlement mentality where, he thinks that he's the greatest thing in the world. He's God's gift to the game of basketball, and he's really not. And, it's unfortunate that we lost Kobe Bryant the way that we did and when we did, because I would have really loved to see his take on the way that LeBron has handled himself this year.
Yeah, because if you actually look at it, after he passed, he started amping up his stupidity.
Mm-hmm. And it's almost like you almost look at it like he lost that mentor that kind of spirit guide, so to speak, as it were. But I mean, you look at the way that Kobe Bryant played the game. And now let me again, no way, shape, form, or fashion was I a Lakers fan or even a Kobe Bryant fan, but I respect the hell out of the guy.
Oh yeah.
LeBron James and Kobe Bryant both got drafted out of high school. They didn't play a single minute of college basketball, and they played their entire post high school career in the NBA. Now, Kobe Bryant, he played the last couple of years of his career with trash knees. I mean, we're talking almost zero cartilage in his knees. He underwent like a kind of like a stem cell platelet kind of a treatment to maybe regenerate or rejuvenate some of the cartilage that was left in his knees. But he played through it. Whereas you got LeBron James.
A good gust of wind hits him, and
good gust of wind hits him. He sprains his ankle. He's got to get carried off the court like he had just stepped on an IED, and he's being carried off to a medevac dust-off flight. And it's like the dude sits there and he just cries and he whines, and I'm just like, wow. And then you hear these. You hear some of the greats like Scottie Pippen chime in. You hear people like Dennis Rodman chime in. I mean, these dudes were hard-nosed, hard as woodpecker lips, tough guys back in the day, back in the 90s. And even though you got Dennis Rodman showing up, like, the dude married himself. He wears wedding dresses. He became best friends with, North Korea's dictator, kind of a deal.
Yeah.
Socially, the guy's awkward as shit, but on the court, you had absolutely my brain just cramped out on me. What the hell happened?
It was that beeping.
Yeah, it was the beeping. But just the work ethic isn't there anymore, and I think that the league overall has become kind of centric around prima donnas. And
well, I think it's always been there, but it's like a lot of things.
Without
but
the
it's
old
always
guard, without the old guard to keep it in check, it's really kind of become more vocal, and it's become the vocal minority.
Yeah, because they're actually putting it out there because they don't.
It's like we keep talking about with our other formats or our other shows that people they've forgotten what it means to get punched in the mouth.
That and the fact that a lot of people don't know how to be sociable. And they're going on social media thinking that everything's great. This is how I talk, and it's supposed to be acceptable. And you have people that go out and think, oh, you're absolutely right. This is how you should talk. I'm going to talk. I watched something that kind of like brought it really hitting home was the sheepdog mentality. Going out and having one person that thinks, oh, this is how you should act, this is how you should dress, this is how everything you should do and everything like that. And you have a bunch of sheep just going towards you.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Going, oh, this is how you act. This is how you're supposed to act. This is how you're supposed to be and everything like that. That's like my neighbor's going out, and he's like, man, I hope there's another civil war. I'm ready for it. I looked at him and was like, dude, I'm a heavy smoker. I know I'm nowhere near close to being ready for a civil war.
Right.
I'll help from the bandstand, and if need be, I'll carry the bodies and everything like that. But actual combat, no, that's a young man's game. I'm the type of person I'll call in for an airstrike fast.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, especially with the fact that the anniversary of D-Day was yesterday.
Yeah, and
you see those memes, or not memes. You see those pictures and we call them memes because.
What about the Dirty 13?
No. Where it's the scene from some of the Higgins boats, and they're like, you're able to enjoy your day at the beach because these gentlemen endured their day at the beach, kind of a things.
Yeah.
And I get the goosebumps, and I get the feels from that because I respect the ever-loving hell out of that generation.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you had these 18, 19, and a lot of times 16 and 17-year-olds that were lying about their ages.
There's a fucking 14-year-old.
Yeah, there was a 14-year-old that lied about his age, joined the Marine Corps, and he got away with it for a while.
Well, not even that. Even in World War One, there are people like kids that are like 11.
Yeah, but now you've got kids, just let's call it for what it is. They're soft.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're talking about safe spaces, and we've got words in our vocabulary like triggered, you know, and
well, hell, there was a...
I mean, back in the day when we were talking about triggered, I mean, it's usually because somebody triggered a booby trap, you know, or triggered a mine.
Yeah.
You know, but now it's like, oh, you triggered my feelings and I feel offended or I feel threatened.
Well, there's it's either a meme or a TikTok thing was like, this was your grandparents back in the day, and it's showing like World War II, the D-Day and everything like that.
Yeah.
And it's showing nowadays where it's like, okay, I hate to tell you this right now, but this quarter point, there's people right here that can't stand like loud noises and everything, so try not to clap or anything or laugh. And it was supposed to be a meeting of I'll call it what it was. It was a meeting of snowflakes, basically.
Yeah.
And they were trying to get people to understand where they're coming from and everything. But legitimately, an hour and a half, because I watched the whole thing, an hour and a half was just them saying, oh, you can't do this, you can't do this, during this debate.
Yeah.
Because if you can just, that's a good clap. That's totally understandable. But, and again, I think it's just the point to where people are actually watching it. Some of the people are just actually watching it for laughter and everything like that. But it's to the point to where this has probably been going on for a while, and we're just now noticing it because everything's online. I mean, you can look at stupid all the time.
Yeah.
Even that anger cop video about that TikToker that fake going into the army, the freaking uniform he had was ridiculous.
Oh,
and
yeah.
His,
it's funny to see some
up.
of these stolen valor guys.
Yeah.
Stolen valor guys.
Well, no, he did it as a joke. He was like, I'm going to tell my girlfriend I'm going to the army, and the girlfriend goes up and starts crying and everything like that, and he was just making it as a joke. And I was looking at the whole thing. I was like, are you sure he's not in the army? I mean, that's a big heifer.
Right.
I mean, it kind of looks that he's already been in the military for a couple of years.
Yeah, normally if he's got bags under his eyes, he's got nicotine stains under his fingernails, and he's
married to a 300-pound woman.
If he's been divorced once or twice, odds are he's been in the military.
Yeah.
But you can see. We've gotten so far off track.
Yeah,
it's kind of our hallmark now. But
yeah.
There's that one meme. It's like what the predator sees after 15 seconds of chasing me, and it shows the hot spots on this guy's body, and he's grabbing his lower back, his knees, his hips, his shoulders. So,
well, even spec ops, they were. A lot of them just tell you, it's like, yeah, you're not really spec ops unless you have like a couple of screws in your body.
Yeah, it's like it's like telling a ball player, it's like if your uniform isn't dirty, you weren't in the game.
Yeah.
And it's just funny, like especially you see little leaguers play, you're like, get down, get dirty, make your mom use that washing machine, kind of a thing. And some kids just refuse to slide, and I'm just like, I find it funny because it's like, why? I mean, it's baseball. You're supposed to get dirty. When you get up, you're supposed to brush yourself off, and it's supposed to be like Pigpen from Peanuts was there, and you see this big cloud. But
you're supposed to see how far you can stretch your leg.
Yeah, see how far you can stretch out at first base.
Or even home base.
Yeah, even home. Yeah, but with. God, I am so disappointed in my buddy. He didn't answer his damn phone. But because I told him, I was like, dude, I'm going to call you while we're recording tomorrow, and I'm going to put you on the show. And he goes, well, I mean, just kind of warn me because, I don't know how many F-bombs I can drop. I said, as long as we wait for more than just 5 minutes before YouTube.
Yeah, we'll get you.
Once we can get past the the algorithm, I think we're okay. But I don't know that Spotify's got that kind of a rule, do they?
No.
No.
That and you have Spotify's kind of different because even the all-powerful Joe Rogan lost a couple of episodes. I think like 43 episodes out of his catalog because he was talking about trans people.
Yeah, see, everybody wants us to be inclusive. Everybody wants us to be tolerant. Everybody wants us to, we want to talk about free speech.
I don't.
Free speech. Yeah, while it's protected by the law, these private entities just kind of treat it as more of a mere suggestion. And it's like, if it doesn't fit what their agenda is, I know that you and I don't care.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just like, we still have to address that elephant in the room.
There's certain things like that you shouldn't even come close to doing as like what we're talking about now, sports.
Yeah.
I mean, men are legitimately built different than women. I don't give a shit what you think. Even if your mindset is one way and the other, I seen a trans woman that was a man, basically
shatter records and just dominate the field because he was out there competing with women. Yeah,
that
like the power.
It was
MMA. MMA or no? Was it MMA or boxing? Yeah, that's
right.
No,
it was MMA.
Yeah,
and to look at the chick that lost, I mean, jeez.
Yeah,
I mean, how do you? It's one of those. I mean, me and you, we were raised never to hit a woman and everything like that. But, and you look at something like that, and you're going, is that all right?
Yeah, and
it makes as much sense as trying to get an
autograph. It puts the women in a really bad position because I mean, like if they forfeit, if they withdraw from the competition because they don't want to compete against a man, what's that make them look like? And
because it makes as much sense as Michael getting an autograph on an extra sketch by Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, it was so bad. I was trying to look past that.
It caught you. It caught you.
Yeah, Michael J. Fox. I love the guy to death, but it's hard to keep a straight face when the guy goes to the bathroom to take a piss and he ends up jerking off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's my dark humor joke for the episode. All that aside, so with this transgender issue coming up in sports today.
I mean, what was it last week? Florida just signed a thing.
Florida passed that law, and then Texas Democrats in the House, Texas House, walked out. They walked out, and to prevent that law from passing. Now, here's the thing: Governor Abbott, agreed with him or not, this is one of the things that I agree with him on. He signed a bill that basically censored or disciplined the legislators and told them, if you don't show up for work or if you don't complete the job, you don't get paid.
Yeah.
So he's not going to pay those senators and representatives, those Congress people from those Democratic districts, or Democrat districts rather, for walking out on the vote. I mean, just they up and left, and it effectively killed it. Now that's some Bush League shit right there. Now, I think that absolutely, punish them, because if they want to politicize, if they want to go to extreme measures to make sure that something gets killed when they know for a fact that I mean, if you're going to get out there and you're going to get killed, at least do it on your feet.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've never agreed with is the fact that you don't want to look at the science until it's not your political gains.
Yeah, and
I mean, it's like people talking about climate change. I'm like, okay, yeah, theoretically there is climate change. No matter what, there always is climate change.
Yeah.
I I mean, they're just using newer.
It's called the seasons. You know what I mean?
Well, okay.
All that aside, yes, I get what you're saying. Temperatures are colder, temperatures are hotter, and we've got more of that wide swing of the pendulum from one extreme to the other. Nothing ever really kind of stays the same.
That and the fact that the Earth actually changed its axis a couple of years back.
Yeah, after the tsunami, the pole shifted. Yeah.
Yeah, just a lot of things. Yes, I can look at the data and everything like that, but if you actually look at the data, it's so minute. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's just how people want to view things to the point of, hey, I believe in this, so we should believe in this. I mean, how many different how many different names they give certain things. Like at first it was it was from climate change, then what was the other one? Global warming.
Yeah, it was global warming first,
it's
and
the
then
same
it was climate change. It's okay.
It's a different name for the same thing.
All right, so way off topic here. Think back. Ronald Reagan gave an interview on, I think it was Johnny Carson, and he said that socialism will make its way into American mainstream under the guise of a different name, whether it's progressivism, liberalism, or statism,
or democratic socialism.
But it's going to come in under a different name, and he was right. He nailed it on the head. And now we're dealing with that. I mean, just like Bush Jr. said, elections have consequences. So whether the election was legitimate or not, hey, that's not what we're here to debate. But we're going to start seeing the fallout from this administration and their mishandling of not only the government but the economy and every other aspect of the American government. But getting back to sports. Oh, big news in football. Just to really kind of yank us back into subject matter here.
Why would you do that?
I don't know. Call me crazy. Call me old-fashioned. Just don't call me in the morning. I was trying to remember Bill Murray's line from Ghostbusters. Yeah. Anyways, that was a huge fail there. So yeah,
I still like the meme I put on Facebook with the Ghostbusters.
Yes.
With I'm going to steal the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, I'm going to steal the Statue of Liberty.
With Nicolas Cage.
Of course, there was my meme. You saw my meme.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. All right, so if you really want to know what we're talking about, hit up our Facebook page, Angry Me Production on Facebook.com, and give us a follow, and just kind of embrace our content for what it is.
Actually, all you have to do is like it. On that, you have to like it. On YouTube,
like it,
share,
and whatever. But getting back to that, Julio Jones, wide receiver for the Atlanta Falcons for the last 10 years, gets traded to the Tennessee Titans for a second, and I think it was a fourth-round draft pick. And then they are going to take over the majority of his remaining contract.
Yeah, I saw that, and what was it?
So everybody, basically, he was in in all actuality, this was the big
Julio Jones, right?
Yeah, Julio Jones. Yeah,
Julio.
I'm the great Julio Jones. I need TP for my bunghole.
They're saying I wouldn't compare the two as far as Corey Davis to Julio, and what he didn't do, and what he's not gonna do. But that is just, this whole thing is just back and forth. It's kind of stupidity. It was a trade that they're trying to jump away from actually the report of the trade.
Right now, and we're even starting to see, and you're always going to see this whenever a trade like this happens. Who won the trade? Who won the trade? Just like for me, like the Andrew Benintendi trade between the Royals and the Red Sox. For the first part of the year, hands down, I think the Royals won that trade. Now that we've completed the trade by naming the rest of our players to be named later, we'll see how these prospects pan out. We may end up winning the trade. I'm not entirely sure. We may call it a draw. I mean, best case scenario, that's going to be what it is, because I respect love Andrew Benintendi. I'm wearing his jersey right now. But
Yeah, because you don't really, in trades like that, and this isn't any kind of trade or anything like that, to where it might be a whole limit, to where he goes to that other team and everything like that, and he ends up just he gets in trouble with the other teammates. He can't really coexist with the other the other players and everything like that. Or you get like, I hate to use this again. You get another. God, I can't remember his name now. Buccaneers.
Tom Brady.
You get a Tom Brady. He goes to a different one, and you got a guy that just brings everybody together.
Yeah.
And wins.
Now, do I think Julio Jones is going to do that for the Titans? No. Do I think it gives them another offensive weapon? Yeah. But the key is going to be, okay, is he going to fit into the system? Is he going to stay healthy? I mean, because he's one of those players that got one of those really large contracts, and everybody, it was big news. He was the highest paid wide receiver, blah, blah, blah. He's going from Atlanta to, which is a perennially mediocre to maybe bottom shelf elite team, to the Tennessee Titans, which
they don't really have that great of a team. They have a decent team, but it's one of those teams you don't really hear a lot from. Maybe it's just because of the area that we're in, really, because we're saturated with the Cowboys.
Dear God, yes. Every time.
Because if you talk in this town and this area, if you want to talk football, you have to talk about the Cowboys. No matter what, you have to talk about the Cowboys.
Yes, the Cowboys
so
always have to come up into the conversation, even though they may not belong there. My girlfriend is a die-hard Cowboys fan, and I'm not. To just be blunt about it, I'm not.
Yeah, kind of.
I rooted for the Cowboys back in the 90s because, it's like...
It was the thing to do.
It was the thing to do. They were America's team back in the 90s. And
then you got the Steelers. That's what... For the longest time, that's who I actually rooted for a while. Because they actually
then you've got the Steelers. But...
I've been more rooting for players, really.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I've got...
I really want to see, Tim Tebow, show off.
I want to see Tim Tebow... I want to see him succeed at tight end for Jacksonville. I really do. Yeah. And when his jersey becomes available, I'm going to buy one just because I'm a Tim Tebow guy. I mean, I like him as a person. I think that, he's genuine. He doesn't sell himself short, and he doesn't sell himself.
Well, he sells himself, but he does it more for charity.
Well, let me put it to you this way. He doesn't sacrifice or compromise his integrity for putting for the sake of putting a product on the field.
Exactly.
So what you see with Tim Tebow is exactly what you're getting. As far as his integrity is going to be concerned, his work ethic is going to be concerned. So I want to see him succeed in the league. I want to see him make that comeback. I want to see him defy those odds, and I really want to see it to where he can actually kind of silence the haters. And I would, because he's not playing for a New York-based team, I don't have an aversion to buying one of his jerseys now. So, I'll wear it because, let's face it, teal's just really not my color. But
I think it brings the color out of your eyes.
Oh, yes, because they're brown. I get it.
Yeah.
When you inevitably, if you ever have a conversation about football, at least in North Texas to Central Texas, you're always going to have to include the damn Cowboys.
Yeah, because you can't get it any. It's
even
the Texans.
Yeah,
even the Texans. You have to go to Houston to get anything from the Texans, or you got to get it online.
Yeah,
because I have a couple of friends that are Texans fans.
Yeah, and then once J.J. Watt left the team and he signed with the Arizona Cardinals, really, thank you, Houston kind of became like the JV team for the state of Texas.
Yeah, pretty much. Which is really sad is they went from we went from having two teams to having one team and then going back and having another team.
Yeah.
Because back when we were kids, it was Houston Oilers.
Yeah,
and
it was the Cowboys and the Oilers, and then we went to just the Cowboys because the Oilers went to Tennessee.
Yeah. and then they became the Tennessee Titans,
Yeah.
and then we ended up getting another team, the Texans. It's that whole basketball.
Well, I don't think it's quite that exhaustive.
No, I think it kind of
However,
was. If you look at it, it was basically what they were saying.
Now, I mean, if we start talking about expanding the NFL to like 40-something teams, then yeah, you're going to start getting into those ridiculous brackets that are going to look remarkably like basketball. If you don't know what basketball is, do an IMDb search for it and educate yourself, but we digress.
Because it was a freaking hilarious movie.
God, that movie was painful to watch sometimes, but it was funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, with the Cowboys, I mean, now they're talking about it. Of course, you're always going to have that annual argument about, well, next season is it playoffs or bust for the Cowboys. You got Dak Prescott, who obviously does not deserve the contract, in my opinion, that he got, but he's coming off a really bad ankle injury. If you didn't see the ankle injury on live TV,
Oh dear God, I still.
yeah,
Someone posted that, and I was like, "What happened here?" Oh my God!
Yeah, you're looking at it, you're like, okay.
It's like I've worked corrections.
He whacked his ankle on the damn turf trying to set it, and I'm like, come on, man. I mean, you know that it had to be a byproduct of the shock that his body was in, because he was looking down and he looked square at his damn foot, and he's like, I wonder if my shoe's on wrong. But
what's really bad is I've worked corrections and I've seen some horrible things people's done to their bodies and everything, or people has done to other people's bodies, and I've seen what happens with, like, you know, RPG hitting a helicopter and had to, and that still almost made me throw up. I was like, oh dear.
Yeah, right, exactly.
It's like that one scene from what we won't talk about. No. Just put it underneath the rug.
Oh, you talking about Cervicos?
Oh, fuck.
That one right there? Yes. Johnny found a button. That's awesome.
Fuck you, Johnny. It's not a good button.
You know, I mean, at the highlight so far to this point in Dak Prescott's career, we're talking about, you know, the first 4 games of last year before he got hurt. I mean, he threw for 1,600, almost 1,700 yards, averaging about 422 and a half yards a game. He was on pace to finish with over 5,000 yards for the first time in his career. It just... You want to try to avoid some of those parallels between Dak Prescott and Tony Romo, because, I mean, I love Tony Romo. Just in the simple fact that the guy perpetually had that aw shucks look on his face. But the guy comes in basically kind of out of nowhere.
What's really
takes
bad,
over at quarterback, and he re-energizes the fan base for the team, right?
And also the thing is what's really weird is paper. He was a stellar quarterback. On the field, once the playoffs hit, horrible.
Yeah, and I don't want to hang that completely and totally on Tony Romo. I really don't. I think the play calling, I think that the defensive changing, the personnel, the personnel management.
Yeah, it's pretty.
For the most part, and execution of the people around him, honestly. Yeah. But like, you take Tony Romo and you put him into a system where it's got a good offensive line that's going to give him protection. You get some receivers that are going to get the separation after the initial point of contact from the line of scrimmage. Then you're going to see him put up those Hall of Fame-esque style numbers, and you're going to see him do it on a year in and year out basis. And it had Tony Romo played for another team, like, I don't know, let's say the Ravens, or even
the
go
Falcons.
as far as, well, when when Matt Ryan was enjoying that protection when they made their Super Bowl run, but like even like Seattle,
Or even the Steelers. Steelers had the best defense for a while.
Well, we're talking about offensive lines here. We're not talking about defensive packaging. But
Oh, yeah.
so I mean, Seattle had a great offensive line for a while there, especially when they were doing their Super Bowl, stuff. Tony Romo would have been. I mean, he might still be playing because he's not going to be getting tossed to the ground like a rag doll. He's not going to get his ribs broke. He's not going to be, fracturing vertebrae in his spine because he's left unprotected because people like Tyron Smith don't know how to, they don't know how to block.
Yeah.
But, I think that, those comparisons that we try to avoid to make, okay, you got Tony Romo here, and then you got Dak Prescott. While Dak Prescott's definitely a mobile guy, when he has his off games, by God, he is off. Just like Tony Romo, when he was off, and you knew he was off, but the dude tried to make things happen. And I think sometimes that was to his detriment, but you at least saw out there the try, the effort, and
he put a lot of his feet forward.
Legitimately put his body on the line for that team, and his linemen just did not they just didn't show up for him.
Yeah.
So do I think that just kind of like, and I want to take a step back here, and I really want to make the bold statement here that, I really want to think that Tony Romo had the potential to be one of the elite quarterbacks. I mean, given the opportunity,
oh yeah,
Tony Romo could have at least won one or two rings. May not have been with the Dallas Cowboys, but it could have been at least certainly with another team with a better offensive line, better receiving core. I mean, well, to that effect, the receivers that Dallas had at the time that Tony Romo was playing were good. Okay, they were great. Take the Dez Bryant non-catch in Green Bay, which the NFL came back later and said, yeah, we were wrong. That was a catch, but you can't really do anything about it at that point because the game's already been played and the finals already been tabulated, and the Packers went on to the next round. But, I think the playoffs, as far as like the win-loss record, I think that's an unfair spectrum or unfair standard to measure.
Yeah, because it's almost
Tony
like
Romo's career against.
I mean, it's like
you look
Peyton
at his passing.
Manning.
Yeah, you look at his passing numbers. Peyton Manning. I love the guy. He's got that down home, homegrown. Golly gee, what's his freaking?
No, he's
name?
freaking hilarious.
Kid.
I think he's freaking hilarious.
He is. He's great. And if you see
like
some
that.
of those comedy roasts on Comedy Central.
No. Not even
have
that.
you seen those?
Yeah.
Right. That girl, that lady. She comes in. She looks at Peyton Manning. She goes, you are great. You are great in commercials. You were almost like the Tom Brady of commercials, and that was just the most perfect burn. Yeah. Right? And you loved seeing those two pit up against each other, Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady. And you knew it was going to be a good game because those guys were going to be out there slinging that ball into places that they had no business slinging it into, threading the needle between, double and sometimes triple covered, receivers and tight ends, and they were making those completions. And it was because they had the faith and the trust in their receiver core, and those players knew it. And they didn't want to let their quarterback down.
No, but if you actually want to see Peyton Manning on his all-time high on comedy and everything, look at the SNL United Way.
Yeah.
I'll watch that.
Dude, that was a great hilarious skit. That was such a great skit.
I'm not saying I'd stab a motherfucker, but I would stab a motherfucker.
But and it's like I get tired of seeing them, but I love those nationwide commercials that Brad Paisley and Peyton Manning do together.
Yeah.
Because you just see Peyton Manning, he gets into it, but you got to admire Peyton Manning for the fact that he loves the game of football like I love the game of baseball. Yeah. And he breathes it, and now that he's not playing, he's not standing in a booth somewhere calling games, and it's perfect because he's out there, he's advocating for the sport, and he's doing so much to advance it. And honestly, I really honestly don't think that I would mind seeing some somebody like Peyton Manning being named the new commissioner.
No, that'd actually be pretty good because
It would.
he's an advocate for the sport.
He is. That's like we need to get rid of Rob Manfred out of commissioner's position from baseball. But because
Well, even what's his name? Oh God, we were talking about him, and he was talking about Aaron Rodgers. Damn it.
Oh shit! Yeah, it was another like
Commentator.
it was another commentator.
God, what's it? And he's freaking so freaking popular.
Oh, you're talking about Terry Bradshaw.
There we go.
Yes.
Yes, it finally popped up as you said. It was like, no, you stole it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yay,
Terry
my brain.
Bradshaw.
Yeah.
Terry Bradshaw. I mean, he would probably be a really good commissioner too.
Well, yeah. See, and here's the thing. We could find these Hall of Fame guys that were great players. But some of them are just shitbags. Oh, let's just call a spade a spade. I'm not saying that Terry Bradshaw is a shitbag. I like Terry Bradshaw. I think that he's hilarious. He's got a great personality. But as far as the state of the game is concerned, I think that we need to find somebody that is a true advocate for the sport. And I think that Peyton Manning would fit that bill for the NFL as far as baseball is concerned. I say we make somebody like Chipper Jones or
It was like when Joe Montana came into town.
yeah, well,
I mean, he's a really genuine guy.
he is a genuine guy, true. But do I think that he would be ideal for the commissioner role? No, absolutely not. I'm team Manning, as far as like new commissioner. So, if we can get that hashtag trending, great, awesome, let's do it.
I think that's about it for the sports.
Yeah, right now the Red Sox and the Marlins are playing. They're playing their makeup game from last week of last month, where I think it was the first game of that series got rained out and was postponed. They're playing their makeup game right now, and the score is currently after 3 innings, it's 2-0 Boston. But all accounts and descriptions of the game are strictly prohibited unless given express written permission by Major League Baseball and the offices of the Boston Red Sox. But
Did you have that memorized?
I do. You hear it enough, and it just kind of subconsciously gets kind of ingrained into your mind. But this is a one game today. Just the Marlins come into town for this one game, and then the Astros are going into Fenway. Managed to take 1 out of 3 when the Red Sox were in Houston. Obviously, I'm hoping for a more favorable outcome as far as the series is concerned. They're in town in Boston for a 3-game set, and then Toronto comes in, and then here. Let me look at the schedule again. It's Miami today, Houston for 3 games, Tuesday through Thursday. Then the Blue Jays for a 4-game series, which is a wraparound series because it's a Friday through Monday series. And then we travel to Atlanta for 2 games, take a day off, and then we travel to Kansas City to play against Andrew Benintendi for the very first time since the trade. So look for that to be a big headline. That's going to be something that I'm going to definitely cover for when we come in on the 21st to record that episode, because that series is just a 3-game series from Friday to Sunday.
Yeah.
So I'll cover that. Again, I'm still a big, huge Andrew Benintendi fan. I'll rep his Red Sox colors all day because the dude's a ball player. He's a grinder. And
as long as you don't have a shrine.
No, I don't have a shrine.
If I see a shrine, we're gonna have a talk.
No, the closest thing that I had to a shrine was whenever I was still married, and our son Colin, his bedroom, he had a bedroom all to himself. My dad and I, we painted the walls. Three of the walls were like warning track red, right? Like the color of the clay in the warning track, right?
Yeah.
And then one wall was painted like the scoreboard on the Green Monster, and we even like lined it out to where, you know, you had the actual scoreboard, and we had like we had like little lenses down there for the balls and strikes. And we didn't have enough space to kind of put like the out of town scoreboards, but we had the iconic scoreboard at the bottom of the Green Monster, and they had the wall that went all the way up. It was painted Green Monster green, and we had shelves on there, and that's where I kept all the memorabilia for my kid to look at, like World Series patches, caps, a couple of autograph balls, things like that. That was about as close to a shrine as it was going to get. There was nothing New York related on there, with the exception of the fact that on the scoreboard it was always New York 4, Boston 6. So, we were always beating the Yankees on that scoreboard, which was just great. Anybody who's got a replica of the Green Monster in either their man cave or a bedroom or what have you, they're always going to have the Red Sox beating the Yankees in one fashion or another. It's going to be, it's just kind of standard. It's standard operating procedure. It's required. It's almost, I think, federal law.
I'm looking at it right now. No, it's not federal law, but we'll keep up with that.
Well, I'm not talking about United States federal law. I'm talking about Red Sox Nation federal law.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
So
Found it.
Shake your head up and down in a north-south seeking direction.
Yeah, I found it. It's there.
Right. Okay. So,
They gotta wear sunglasses.
Until next week, definitely go ahead. If you're watching us on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
If you hit us on Spotify,
I'm
I
not
don't
done
even
yet.
know. Oh,
Quit
okay.
interrupting
Fine.
with the spiel. Good God, sit there and just be good. Subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so that way you get notified anytime we put a new video out. Get involved with the comments. If you've got a good enough take, we'll reach out to you, and we'll try to figure out a way to get you on the show via Skype or something like that, so that way we can get we can interact with your take and kind of delve into the inner workings of your mind. Definitely hit us up on Spotify. Again, our Facebook page is Angry Meat Production on Facebook.com. Give us a like there. But until then, I'm Johnny Skelton.
I'm David Dickerman.
Stay classy, San Diego.
All right.